Christmas night I gave everyone gifts. Every face was glowing with happiness, but when it was my turn, I was met with silence. I placed the last box under the tree and looked around. My husband Mark was standing near the couch. His mother was at the kitchen doorway. His sister Amy was recording everything on her phone. My father-in-law was settled into his recliner. Everyone's hands were full of the things I had carefully picked out myself from Target and Walmart. I had thought about each person. I had made a list. I had paid for everything. Mark cleared his throat and said, "Okay, that's everyone's gifts." Then he stopped. No one moved. No one said, "This one's for you." I stayed standing there. I kept a small smile on my face. Amy turned the camera toward me. They were waiting for me to say something. Or maybe they were waiting for me not to. If you've ever smiled through silence like this, stay with me, subscribe and walk this journey with me. You won't believe what happened next. I asked, "Where's my gift?" Mark shrugged. "We figured you probably bought everything yourself anyway. You control it all. You like being in charge." His mom laughed lightly. "What do you even need? You just love giving." A few people in the room chuckled. I heard it. I registered every sound. I noticed my son's eyes fixed on me. He's 12 years old. He could tell something wasn't right. I nodded. Okay. I walked back toward the tree. I picked up an empty decorative box I had placed there just for looks. I held it in my hands and stepped back in front of the couch. "The real gift is still coming," I said. Everyone paused. Amy adjusted her camera. Mark narrowed his eyes. "What does that mean?" I pulled out my phone. I turned on the Bluetooth speaker I had bought myself. I opened a file. I pressed play. Mark's voice filled the room. "She'll never leave. He pays all the bills. The house is in her name, but she won't make a scene. She always stays quiet." Silence. I played the next clip. Amy's voice this time. "Even if you leave her, she'll still support you. She's not stupid, just soft." I turned the speaker off. I looked at all of them. "I'm not staying quiet." Mark stood up. "What is this?" "You've been recording our private conversations." "Yes," I said calmly. "In my own house." His mother snapped, "This is insane." I shook my head. Insane was all of you assuming I would keep giving forever and never keep track. No one spoke. My son walked quietly over and stood beside me. I rested my hand on his shoulder. "I gave everyone gifts today," I said. "Starting tomorrow, I'm spending only on myself and my son." This hadn't happened overnight. I had been watching for 2 years. Mark lost his job 3 years ago. I took on freelance work on top of my full-time job. I paid the mortgage. I paid the SUV payment. I covered the HOA fees. I did the Costco runs. I planned every birthday. And every time Mark's mom would say, "You're strong. It doesn't bother you." At first I thought it was a compliment. Then I realized they never once asked how I was doing. When I got sick, I drove myself to urgent care. When I got promoted, Mark said, "That's good. More money coming in." Last month I overheard Mark talking to Amy in the garage. He said, "I'll never tell her what I did with the savings. She'll panic." The next morning I logged into the bank. I always monitored our joint account, but he had opened a new one. I pulled the statements. $25,000 was gone. I said nothing. I spoke to a lawyer. I printed everything. I made copies of the deed. The house was in my name because I had put down the down payment and Mark's credit had been weak. I saved the group text too. Amy's messages. Make her feel guilty. She always gives in. I put everything into one folder. I didn't create drama. I cooked dinner. I hosted Thanksgiving. I planned Christmas. I decorated the tree. I hung the lights. And that night when they gave me nothing, I knew I had been right. After I turned off the speaker, I placed an envelope on the coffee table. "These are divorce papers, Mark. You'll need to sign them. If you don't, we'll see each other in court." He laughed. "You're bluffing." I pulled out another document. "These are the bank statements. Unauthorized withdrawals. I've already reported them. If you cooperate, I won't move forward with a criminal complaint." His mother stood up. "You're destroying this family." I answered steadily, "Families are destroyed by the ones who break trust." Amy lowered her phone. The color had drained from her face. I looked directly at her. "And you are no longer welcome in this house. If you show up again without permission, I'll file a trespassing report. Mark raised his voice. You're throwing me out on the street? No, I said. You can stay with your brother. Or your mom. You're an adult. My son held my hand tightly. I looked at him. We're going upstairs. I climbed the stairs. I could hear arguing whispers, phone calls downstairs. I closed the bedroom door and locked it. I looked at my son. We're okay. He nodded. I know. The next morning I had the locks changed. I texted Mark to arrange a police escort for picking up his belongings. I called my lawyer. I updated HR that my marital status would be changing. I froze the joint credit cards. On the first day Mark threatened me. On the second he cried. On the third he promised therapy. I saved every message. I replied briefly. Only practical matters. A week later he moved in with his mother. Amy posted something vague on Facebook. Some people destroy families for attention. I didn't respond. I simply tightened my privacy settings. At the first court hearing Mark looked different. Not confident. I had documentation. I had recordings. I had proof he misused marital funds. The judge issued a temporary order preventing him from requesting financial support while the case proceeded. The house was quiet but it didn't feel heavy. I kept the Christmas tree up until New Year's. I looked at the ornaments and realized that yes, I had given everyone gifts that year. But the real gift was the one I gave myself. Now when I wake up I don't feel the weight of wondering who will say what. I eat breakfast with my son in peace. When we go to Walmart I don't calculate which bill might go unpaid. I spend my money according to my priorities. Sometimes Mark texts, "Can we talk?" I respond, "Through the lawyer." His mother knocked on the door once. I watched her through the doorbell camera. I didn't open it. I simply said, "Please text first." I've set boundaries in my own home. I've used my voice. That night when everyone else was silent they thought I would be too. But I stood up. I smiled. I played the truth. And the celebration stopped right there. Now when I look in the mirror I see the woman who used to give everything away. But now she keeps records. And if anyone ever tries to hand her an empty box again she won't just accept it. She'll open the whole package and show exactly what's inside. If this story touched your heart or reminded you of your own strength, please take a moment to like and subscribe. Your support helps me share more real, powerful stories like this one. Thank you for being here, for listening, and for believing in voices that refuse to stay silent.